Welcome to the Jeff and Jamie feed. We are so glad you're here with us today. Today, we're going to be talking about the B in F&B.
Beverages.
Beverages, that's right.
I love it. I love hanging out with Colleen. So I am so glad to be bringing Colleen Hughes, our head mixologist, on the show.
I know. I think most of this, you're going to be leading it because this is your world. This is your realm. And I'll try to chime in, but this is...
It is. Why don't you talk about some of her accolades for a second, though? Just tee her up. She's so awesome.
Well, she's done an incredible job. She's been on our team for 14 some years. And just last year was nominated for a James Beard, which is incredible for anyone in the food and beverage industry. And then this past fall, Michelin awarded her with the Exceptional Cocktails Award, which was the only cocktail award that was given out at the Michelin Guide Awards.
For the whole American South.
For the whole American South.
That is incredible.
It is incredible.
Just awesome.
It is, but she's been on our team, for 14 years and has been integral, not just in terms of, beverage, but also leadership too, and helping to train and keep our team growing and getting better and better at what we do in that piece of beverages.
And the beverage piece is so important for us. Just the cocktail piece is millions of dollars for us. But Colleen is responsible for almost 250,000 cocktails that go out of our places every year.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that amazing? It is just an incredible number of cocktails that we have to mix up, and she creates every single one of them. She oversees every one of them, and she does an awesome job.
Yes, and I think beverages, specifically cocktails, but beverages in general, are something that we've really relied on in terms of branding. Because you see restaurants, you can go there and have a great meal. Maybe you get great wine that goes with it. But to have that full piece of having cocktails and wine and great food, all of that together is not that easy to make happen.
It's not. And also what's going on at the Speakeasy is not easy to happen. Trying to do next level cocktails and do 4 of them multiple times a year.
So that's the Supperland has a speakeasy. There's 10 seats down there. That's it. But we've intentionally created it to be this place where the bartenders can do multi-step beverages down there that they wouldn't be able to do in like a fast turn bar environment.
And I can't wait to bring Colleen on, because I don't know where the conversation's going to go, because one of the best parts about Colleen is we've known each other for so long. She has no filter with me, and she is not afraid to give her opinion, which is awesome because I think it helps shape our whole restaurant group. I think she pushes us in some great directions, and she's a really good friend, and I love hanging out with her, so I can't wait to get her on here.
Well, let's bring her on. Colleen, welcome. We're so glad to have you on here.
Thanks. Hi.
Where is this conversation going to go?
So a lot of people think you have like the best job. Do you have the best job? What's your favorite parts?
I think I have a really good job. I can't think of a different job I'd rather do. I definitely have bad days. But yeah.
So basically Colleen crafts drinks across our restaurant group. Is that what you, and then obviously you then train people in order to bring those drinks to life in store. So how does it work, like the actual mixology part? How do you create those drinks?
I think my job is like 4 real different jobs. And one of the big jobs is actually writing cocktails, right? That's like a huge chunk of my time and a huge chunk of my usual frustration. Like trying to think of stuff, like reinventing the wheel over and over and over again gets a little tiring sometimes. But yeah, so writing cocktails, I kind of have to and a lot of times I have to lock myself away from literally everything, because I'm so ADD that anything that will break my concentration, I can't I'll lose my train of thought really quickly, and in something that's super, super detailed, like it can take me hours to try to get myself back online. I take copious notes while I'm working. Like I write every single thing down that I'm doing every time.
You have to do that because you're usually drunk by the end of it.
Yeah, kind of. Well, no, but even in R&D, because sometimes it's just I work in such tiny quantities, especially when we're talking more like writing a drink for growlers is very different than writing a drink for the speakeasy, right? For drinks for the speakeasy, there's a lot of science in them and a lot of incrementally tiny scaling. Like I need to add 0.03% of sodium bisulfate to cucumber juice to keep it from turning brown, right? But that is infinitesimally tiny math, and I hate math, and so I have to write it down because sometimes 0.3% might be too much, and I'm like, okay, I have to go back and do 0.02%.
Tinier.
Yeah.
I love when I call you and I have some friends coming over and I'm like, hey Colleen, you remember that drink we did like 14 months ago and it was this and that, and I was like, can I get the recipe for that? And you're like, yeah, sure, I'll shoot that right over. It's a 4-day process.
Yeah.
When your friends coming over, I'm like, in 2 hours.
Yeah. A lot of times I'm like, you just can't make it. People
you're like, you know that takes a centrifuge and you have to freeze the thing and
special order like 13 ingredients that you don't have. Yeah, it's not fun.
So how I think one of the best parts about the way you make cocktails is you're always pushing the cocktail game forward. You're not just staying stagnant. You're always pushing for new ingredients. You're always asking me for new equipment. I think you texted me yesterday wanting something else, which is great.
It was only $200.
But what how do you stay ahead, and what is your process for coming up with a new drink?
There's a bunch of different processes. Like there's sometimes I keep a list in my phone. So if I go to a restaurant or something and I have a really tasty bevy, or not even a beverage, if I have a really delicious dish of food, and it has contrasting things or different flavors I'm not used to, I'll take note. I remember I was like years ago, I went to a restaurant and I had this absolutely amazing dessert that was like passion fruit, dark chocolate, and coriander, and I was like, stealing this one. I'm not obviously gonna go home and make a mousse,
dessert, but
yeah. I was like, that's a good flavor combination, and or stuff like that. And so I just take notes anytime I have a combination of flavors that I think are really interesting, that I think I can put to alcohol, because not everything can.
Right.
Not everything's great with booze. I mean, intrinsically. So I do that, and then there's other times where, if I seriously have to push out menus, fall and spring are my biggest work times. And pretty much everyone I work with knows, just leave me alone. It's a multi-day process. It's day one, clean the entire house. I clean my whole house so that nothing can distract me. I can't be oh, I'm going to work on this guy. Oh, wait, that's dirty. No, I have to have, everything is hermetically clean. Then I have a couple days where I literally just sit with cocktail books and just literally think about stuff. I know that seems weird, but I just fall down rabbit holes of flavor ideas for about 12 hours for 2 days. And I write every single thing down as detailed as I can get. Then the next day or two, I'm procuring all the items I need. And then usually about 5 days after that, I actually sit down and start pushing out cocktails. And this isn't for one. This is the time where I need to update every single restaurant's menus. So I'm looking at the fact that in 3 weeks, I have to come up with 25 drinks ish. And so it's after 5 days of essentially getting my brain ready, then the next 6 or 7, I'll spend 3 days making a whole bunch of prep. And then again, those days I'm usually pretty sober. And then when I finally get all of that component stuff made, then I actually start working on building drinks, which that's a bit of a process too, because I have to work in shifts essentially. I set up, I wake up, I make myself a big breakfast. I
start with food.
I start with food. I make myself a
idea.
big breakfast. I go out. I start mixing cocktails. I keep, again, really good notes. I keep very detailed notes of each drink as I'm doing it. So if something doesn't work, I can actually go back and see my fails to see
that's smart.
You know, and And so and built from there, and I spit everything out, but still after about 4.5 hours, I'm kind of my palate's kaput. I can always tell the minute I start writing something and my handwriting is like gets real sloppy. I'm like, well, break time, and that break time comes when it comes. Like,
I need a cheeseburger.
I can't. Well, yeah, I can't fight the feeling. Like I have to stop. So I'll just wrap up. I'll usually take like a 2-mile walk, eat lunch, and then by that point I'm sober enough to go back and work. For
That's usually when I
4
get
to
the
5
call.
hours.
Is
Yeah.
on the walk.
I'm like, I'm kind of drunk, but listen to what I just made. It's really cool. Yeah.
But it's also too when you're designing drinks, it's not just flavor profile that you're looking for. Like as you're doing the spring drinks now, you have to be cognizant of what growlers bartenders can do in quickly because they're
Yeah.
more speed oriented. And then how do you fit an Everandolo, an Italian spot versus a southern spot?
Yeah, there's so many different places.
Lelia
It's
Hall
funny.
and
I went and taught a class on this at a cocktail conference. Like I wrote out exactly how I do it as a 1-hour course. I've done some cocktail conferences for people, which is it, and it breaks it down exactly how I do it. But it's really by time. Because I might write a drink that I think makes sense for one spot, but then when I really look at it, it actually might make more sense somewhere else, which is kind of nice because I work at home, so I can just make those decisions. But mostly it's broken down by time and pickups. So like growlers, any drink I write for growlers, the prep can't be too terribly hard. They don't have a centrifuge. They don't have super bags. They don't have the kind of space that the bigger cocktail restaurants do. Same with Everandolo, but it's a drink at growlers. One, they're going to free pour, I think, pretty much whether I like it or not. And I'm also cool with them free pouring because they know how to do it, which is they're not using jiggers except for like smaller stuff or really expensive stuff. They're just counting, which is kind of how we all got trained to bartend in the beginning.
Yeah.
So they're all written to have a little bit of a wiggle room, because they might over or under by a 1/4 of an ounce here or there. But, it could happen.
Yeah.
Their liquor costs are good, so that's all I care about. But they're written to be made in about 45 seconds or less, 5 pickups or less, including garnish. And that's them. Everandolo, a little bit more. They have more bartenders. They have more of a back bar setup. So their max make time drink should be about 1:20 seconds.
And when you say pickups, tell me exactly what you mean by that. What that might
pickups
be.
is literally how many things do you have to touch, excluding a tin. So like how many pickups can be.
A garnish, a liquor,
garnish,
a
liquor,
juice.
mixer. Like a mixer, a modifier, but limiting that as much as possible.
In a place that is super fast turn, and you've got
And
lots of customers.
we're also very garnish heavy, and make that's the other thing I think people forget is after you make an awesome tasting cocktail, there's another piece to it.
You want it to look beautiful.
Of how do we make it look beautiful, and what glass are we putting it in, and how does it get made?
It's all that still. It just comes down to time, really. It's like, so when I think of a drink, sometimes for some place like Everandolo, they may have 2 or 3 ingredients pre-blended to get more flavor, but with less time taking, I guess. Then when we get to the cocktail stores, which are Haberdish, Andalo, or Haberdish, Leluya, and Supperland, those times they have bigger bars. They have they're better set up for speed bartending, and they have bigger refrigeration and stuff like that. So those they start to change. So like Leluya, Haberdish, and Supperland on their main bars are usually they can have a drink. They can have one drink on their menu that could take 2 minutes, but for that one drink that takes 2 minutes, they have 3 drinks on draft that take 30 seconds. It's that balancing.
There's so many complicated things to think about.
Well,
I don't.
go ahead.
Have you? I don't know if you've. We just did a little intro of you and how many awards you've gotten and how awesome you are, but I don't know if you realize the breadth of how many cocktails that you've created that get served every year. I did the math, so it's about 250,000 cocktails that we make a year in our restaurants. there's only 1 million people that live in Charlotte, and there's probably only 500,000 people that are over the age of 21. I don't know exactly. I'm just
Jeff goes
guessing.
into his statistical brain here. I don't know.
So in a given year, you could be making a cocktail for half the people in our town. It is just crazy numbers and crazy volumes, and to do it at that high of a level and to give them cocktails seasonally. We change our cocktail list. We have a few drinks that obviously, are need to stay on each menu maybe forever. They were that good. But we change our cocktail lists every 4 months, every 3 months. 3 months, yeah.
Mostly,
Yeah.
Sometimes I get behind. That Verandolo might still be on their fall menu.
No.
But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I don't do it alone, and I really I like taking all the credit, but I can't, because really, our bar managers, especially in the cocktail spots, really do step up, and even in some of our stores, our bartenders are really stepping up. Like, I don't write 100% of the drinks. I definitely approve 100% of the drinks.
Mm-hmm.
And so usually, I'll get together with you guys and show you what we have coming up. I get together with our team ahead of that, and I'll usually give them some, early direction, and then something before, when they think they're 90% there, I'll step in and we might tweak stuff. It might be perfect. When it's perfect, it's great, because then we can just go eat lunch. But yeah, yesterday I ran in quickly to Zach, and he was like, "Oh man, I'm just thinking about." I was like, "All right, you need to." Zach is our bar manager at Supperland. I was like, I need you to write 1 or 2 spring cocktails, and whatever 1 or 2 of them are, one of the prep lines you have to also upcycle into an NA drink, so we're not making multiple prep lines. And so I was like, I want 3 drinks, but I only want you to do this. And I was like, just start working on it now. And he knows well enough that, because I'm also writing drinks for the same spot. So typically when one of us or the other one, and this is just true of Rhea and Jasmine, when one of us or the other one has gotten some ideas of things they're about to develop, we'll text the other people and tell them what we're thinking about, just so we're not writing the same drink.
Yeah.
Or something so similar. We've had it happen a bunch of times, a bunch of bartenders showed up to show me fall stuff, and it was every single person had an apple drink, an apple cider drink.
We've had that in some of our internal cocktail competitions where everybody shows up with the same flavor.
I was like, we can only have 1 apple cider cocktail, guys.
One of the other things that you have done an incredible job with is not just coordinating with your bar teams, but coordinating with the kitchen in order to keep waste down. So using items that our kitchen's already using at that time of year, and then incorporating potential waste products into your drinks.
Yeah, we try. I actually just stole a bunch of stale bread from Savannah, and I've been reading a lot about bread water cocktails. I've got a spaghetti water, or just wrapped a spaghetti water cocktail on a menu, and I was like, well, they seem to throw away a loaf of bread a week at Supperland, and it's good bread. So yeah, I stole a loaf. I'm gonna see about, also I love lacing all my prep lines with gluten for fun. So I'm gonna see if I can put bread, but because it does seem like, I was like, if they take it and they just throw it in the freezer instead of throwing it away, then we can just turn it into.
Do something with it later.
That. I mean, you just mentioned pasta water, this bread water thing, which I've never heard of, but that'll be very interesting. But you do that also with citrus to create your syrups and stocks.
Oh, yeah, everything. People don't believe me a lot of times, even pretty fancy, famous bartenders who've come through, that none of our stores are 100% juice. Every store is now on citrus stock. It took a while to get there. It was really kind of a big sort of anti-waste push that Rhea and I had in 2019. We went to Portland Cocktail Week and did a 3-day basically ways to reduce bar waste intensive. And we came back, and so we had a plan, which was great. And then we came back and we started implementing it, and developed over COVID, really honed in on our citrus stocks, rolled them out starting at Supperland, made sure they worked, and eventually they're in every store, which is great because I save you guys a ton of money.
And the consistency of them is fantastic. The stock's always the same at every place.
It's
So you just do a great
fun.
job with all your refractometer things and gauges and
Well,
all the stuff.
It's pretty simple stuff. Like we just juice everything, and then when like any kind of fresh citrus or anything that's shipping in from a long way away, I suppose, more than 100 miles, we really start thinking about it. But we take it like a pineapple. We take the pineapple, we skin the pineapple, we juice the pineapple. The juice is pineapple juice, and we just use it for pineapple juice. And then the pulp and the skins, we turn into pineapple syrup, and we just use it in a different way, so that we've fully used every part of this thing to kind of help reduce our carbon footprint and make more shit. Stuff.
I love it. I mean, it
Stuff.
helps so much. I mean, I
Stuff.
guess that impacts, in a business standpoint, the food costs, right? That's
No, it's very helpful
and drink costs.
And we always have a joke when we first started looking into some of this stuff at Haberdish, how the bar was throwing out egg whites and the kitchen was throwing out egg yolks.
Oh,
Or
jeez.
sorry, the other way
The
around.
other way around.
Yes, the other way around. You guys were throwing out egg yolks because you were using the egg whites for a cocktail, and the kitchen was just throwing out the whites. So when you
communication.
dive in on some of these things, it's just like why wouldn't you
Yeah.
separate them and keep them?
And now the bar hardly uses eggs at all because we use
You've-
we cook down apple pulp and combine it with science, and we made our own vegan egg white replacers.
Yeah, it's funny. Everybody was calling you when eggs started to be $2 an egg.
I know,
And
it's
How
fun.
do you make a vegan egg?
I tell them that my boss made me sign an ironclad NDA. Is basically what I say. I'm like,
It's easier that way.
after Apple packed it in science, I've given you half of the recipe.
There it is. Well, so that is so key, because it's like, yes, you're pushing things on in terms of cocktails, yes, and then you're the anti-waste stuff, but then there's also this vegan movement, like where you've really done an incredible job with your team to work that into our drinks, not just for guests, but also mindfulness in general.
Yeah, I think everything for me that we do, I really kind of pretty passionate about the idea of fusing science and sustainability and sort of using sort of molecular gastronomy to meet our anti-waste ends, I suppose. But yeah, it intrinsically, if we're lowering our carbon footprint, then getting animal products out of our drinks is key, right? That's a huge carbon footprint load. I'm also a pescatarian, so that doesn't hurt. It ends up working out a lot of the times the same. Every once in a while, there's a drink that I, with all the science and time in theory in the world, still have not produced a decent enough vegan eggnog that I feel comfortable replacing a dairy eggnog for on our holiday
Those
menus.
are so good.
I know, and everybody loves them.
Eggnog is so good.
We will a lot of times we'll have some vegan eggnog that we buy in the pocket just for a vegan who truly wants an eggnog, but I can't menu it. I just can't get that into it. But yeah, I think it really does work out. And if like a guest comes to the bar and they truly want an egg white cocktail, and they're just like, I want an egg white cocktail, of course we're gonna go get an egg. Like, we're gonna go get the egg and we're gonna make it for you. We're not jerks. We're not like, no eggs for you. But that's just not where we start from. So I think it just makes a difference. And we label growlers and Everon are a little bit different, just because of their scope of their prep abilities, but the main cocktail stores, they're all able to kind of do most of this stuff, and it really does. It makes a big difference, and it lets us get really creative. And I think, kind of like you were saying, not sitting and doing the same thing you've always done. You have to keep pushing to improve the way you're doing stuff, and part of that is improving everything. I rewrite my own prep lines. I'll have a drink that I made 5 or 6, 8 years ago that I thought was really amazing then, and still flavor-wise is great, but I'm better at developing prep and stuff like that now. So if I want to bring that drink back, I might rewrite that whole prep line, clean it up, make it greener, make it more efficient in time, make it more efficient in, We used to reduce all our syrups. Like we would put, 50-50 sugar, water, and reduce everything. And now we don't do that. We start at the bricks we want to end at, which is usually 60. And we cook everything covered, and we cook it in a fraction of the amount of time with way better flavor results. And just, so I might take a recipe that was written to literally says syrup, and then we just don't syrup it anymore. We just change the way we do it.
Yeah.
So what, we've gone through the, I'm talking about spirits here, but, we've had a time where I think you were pretty into gin. We've had a time where pretty into Amaro, sherry, Armagnac.
I'm still in all of those things.
What are you super into right now? I just want to know what's coming. I can't wait.
I mean, I'm still into all those things, and BT dubs, Armagnac, respect. Most people aren't into it yet, so get on the train. Well, actually, don't get on the train. It's still really affordable to get really good Armagnac, so don't just ignore everything. You know what? What's next? I'm not sure. I think people are expanding their knowledge of rum, and I think that that's really key in coming forward. We're starting to see really amazing rums from places we don't think about, like Mexican rum. I feel like is fixing to have a moment. We've been using
that
it for a while.
Hawaiian rum.
Oh,
You guys.
that's Rhea. Okay, Rhea, the funkier the better. Rhea drinks. She's just scraping a dumb.
It is like has all the flavor of that you would expect in rum and sugar, but then it's like it was sitting with a white truffle and some other funk.
That's a polite way to put it.
It is amazing.
Rhea, you and Rhea love it. To me,
You're not sold.
It smells like it smells like the smell of rotting produce. I guess that's pretty much what it is.
It needs to be like an 1/8 of an ounce in there, or a 16th. It's not. It's a few drops of it.
Kohana Key. It comes in a teeny little 300 ml. So Rhea is our bar manager at Leluya Hall now, and she's pretty much my right hand lady. And she is a hyperbolic rum nerd. Like, I'm a rum nerd. I like rum. I think it's great. I drink a decent amount of it, but where I spend all my money on my gin and Armagnac collection. Hers is all the craziest, funkiest rums. So she'll come to me with stuff, and even I'm like, "Whew, girl," that's just weird. But
so she has a definite style when she comes up with drinks. She mixes drinks that I like that are very
boozy,
spirit forward and boozy, and many times it's booze mixed with a vermouth.
Yeah, and then some more booze on top. Yeah, that's 100% accurate.
What is what would you say your style is?
I think that's why Rhea and I complement each other so well, because I very rarely write a booze bomb cocktail. I rarely write an all spirits cocktail. Occasionally, I will, but my strongest suit is going to be I guess my bar superpowers. I'm really good at prep. I know that seems like a weird thing to say, but I'm really good at making stuff, and it's very much sort of a symbol of the time that I started craft bartending, because all the other craft bartenders that I know that are in sort of my age range, or that have been doing this for the same length of time as me, like Bob, Stefan, those kinds of guys, Amanda,
those guys aren't in your age range. You're much younger than
I am much younger than they are. Well, I started when I was 12. Anyway, but they back then, in the early days of craft bartending in North Carolina, we couldn't buy anything. You couldn't buy anything except for there was 3,000 flavors of vodka, but you couldn't buy I remember when chartreuse came on the market. I remember when Luxardo came on the market. I've been bartending for a while before these things came out. Fernet, I remember when it first hit the market. I bought Fernet, and I think we were the first key account for Fernet at Crepe Cellar back in the day, to the point that when first time I met the Fernet rep, because we had been the first and longest standing person carrying it, he walked up to me and he was like, "Oh my God, you're Colleen." He's patting his pockets. He's like, "I don't have a Fernet coin," which is the thing. And he's like, "Do you want a bicycle?" And it was
I do want a bicycle.
I do want a bicycle.
Bicycle is better than a coin.
Yeah, I went and got a Fernet. I got a Fernet bicycle. It's still in my backyard.
I love it.
But I think because I couldn't buy anything, and I was reading all these cocktail books like that were out there at the time, and literally having to look up what the flavor profile of these modifying ingredients were, because I didn't have them, I couldn't buy them, I had never heard of them, and being
So
like,
you
okay,
just started making them.
yeah. So I was like, okay, so that's raspberry in a roundabout way, or that's this in a roundabout way, and so yeah. So then I just started being like, well, if I want to make that, then let me figure out how to
Make that.
I couldn't,
syrup,
yeah, and so I was making it into infused syrups, those flavor profiles, and literally just so I could try to make something like the drinks in the cocktail books I was getting from the bars in New York that have everything.
Yeah.
So because of that, I started getting.
But that
really,
made you really good at it.
It made me
it's-
really good at
It's
it.
amazing how, like, when you don't have something, like, you find another way, and
Yeah.
now you're incredible at what you do.
I mean, I figured out how to make dry curacao a long time ago. Well, I was trying to. I wanted to make cherry herring. I made cherry herring.
We went to that cherry herring class. That was fun.
Yeah, and so literally figured out how to make all these weird flavors, and I couldn't really make them necessarily in spirits. So there's some legality there, but I could just make them in sugar and then mix them with stuff, and it worked out. And yeah,
Just
then
because monks were making them for hundreds and hundreds of years with 74 ingredients, you were gonna figure it out
yeah,
yourself.
chartreuse is one I will not touch, and I think anybody who does try is bold.
You do a lot of teas and things
Yeah.
in beverages, which I always like. I think they add a lot of depth of flavor and are really cool surprises in cocktails.
Yeah, I just actually bought a handful of new teas that seemed really interesting. I started messing around. I just came back from vacation, but I started messing around with them before I went on vacation, and they seemed really promising. And so I kind of backstocked, because I bought like tiny amounts really just to try them, and then I went through and bought a little bit more to actually start building some drinks with. But I found this one that has like a bunch of different fruit flavors. It's got a little bit of Robios,
Yep.
you know what I'm
Rooibos,
talking-
yeah.
Yeah.
and then it has little flecks of caramel in it, so it doesn't like make it super sugary, but when you brew the tea, it has like an intrinsic sweetness. I was like, I'm gonna use that.
That's
that
nice.
sounds fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I always love at our tastings. This might surprise some people, but I always love the vodka drinks at our tastings, because I know that the amount of time that goes into prepping a vodka drink to make it special and make it cool and make it next level is next level. Like, you have to put so much effort into those, and there's always a surprise. There's always something fun, and
Fuck, it's hard. Well, it just doesn't. It doesn't. It gives you a little bit of heat and a little bit of mouthfeel, but that's really it. And especially in the flavor department. So, and we very, very rarely carry flavored vodka. There's only like a few that are very natural and that are just different. Like we carry a honeysuckle one from Cathead, and that kind of stuff. But yeah, it is. Vodka is really hard to make cocktails with, but I know people want them, so we do it.
as Tito's is the number 1 seller in Mecklenburg County, the number 2 seller in Mecklenburg County,
think
and
no.
4.
It's the number 1 selling spirit in the United States this last year.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Tito's. It was Tito's and Jack Daniels, I think.
In Mecklenburg County, the normal 750
Oh, yeah.
milliliter bottle is the number 1 selling thing at
Yeah.
the ABC. Then the bigger handle of Tito's is the number 2 selling thing. And then
Yeah.
the small Tito's is the number 4 selling item.
Oh
so
my
it is
gosh.
just crazy the amount of vodka that moves out of the liquor stores.
Oh yeah, no, it dominates for sure.
So one of the big things that I know we're seeing, the beverage industry seems to be going through a big shift towards THC cocktails and spirit-free drinks as well.
Mm-hmm.
You're running all of that for us too.
A lot, yeah, for sure. No, not yeah. THC mostly. Those are really I have to
Popular.
they're popular, but I also have to be very careful when I'm developing them, because it's not like alcohol where like developing an alcohol cocktail, you spit it out, and for the most part, you're not really ingesting any alcohol. But THC is different; it's absorbing through your skin.
Okay.
So,
How much does the THC affect the flavor after you made the drink, the mouthfeel and the flavor when you're finishing it?
I don't think really.
Yeah,
We're buying
not that much.
We're buying THC, essentially NA spirits. So like we're not mixing, we're not doing any of that stuff.
Right.
We're buying kind of like you'd buy a bottle of liquor. They have different flavors. We use them for different applications, but we're not doing that stuff. And it's nice because it's like in 1.5 ounces, which is a very measurable amount for a bar. For most of them, it's like 5 milligrams of THC and CBD.
Okay.
So for our bartenders, they're just picking it up and handling it in a very similar way. And it cleans, like it's not leaving any kind of residue. So we're not accidentally, getting people high. But yeah, the R&D on those, like I can have a really good, strong idea, but I can normally work on alcohol drinks for about 4 hours. With THC drinks, I'm on a much shorter window. I have to be really, when I'm doing it, I have to be really set to do it. Like I have to have a real strong idea of what I'm doing because I've got the clock's ticking and I've got about 1.5 hours before I just can't work on them anymore, and I can spit it out all I want, but I'm getting high and like.
So, but if it doesn't,
sacrifices you make.
I know it's hard for me, but I do.
You do have the best job, huh?
But it is kind of one of those things where I have to plan. I have to, like, if I'm going to work on that, I have to plan my whole day. Like I have to say I'm going to do this in the morning because after that there's nothing else, right? I'm not driving a car anymore.
Right.
I'm not like I have to be set. Like Stefan, my boyfriend, I literally like, hey, I will call him in advance and be like, hey, I'm developing THC cocktails this evening. If you come home and I'm a lump on the couch, now you know. I can't drive to go anywhere. I don't really want to go in public afterwards because it's like, it's like by the time I start to feel like I'm high, in an hour I'm high.
Okay. Yeah. So taking care of that. So, but is there a way to develop those drinks without having that component there if it's not adding any flavor to it?
But they're flavored. Yeah, they're flavored.
They're flavored themselves.
Yeah.
So, okay. I see what you're saying.
They have a true flavor component and sometimes pretty strong ones. So, which is what's nice about it. Like, they're almost like juicy in like their flavor profiles. Like we use one a lot that has a lime flavor to it.
Okay.
We have one that has like a spiced rum flavor to it. But they're a flavor component in the drink, and usually it's like those plus maybe some NA spirits plus prep. So they are fully composed cocktails.
I need to get better at tasting those. I've really only had like a strawful of your THC.
You
drinks.
had one drink when we went out. You were like, "This is different than alcohol."
I'm a novice.
It is. I honestly, with anything, like Rhea wanted to try one the other day, and she is not used to that kind of stuff. And so I looked at her and I was like, "You can have half." I was like, you can have half you'll be good, 2.5 milligrams, like and that's the thing, everything is tolerance, right? Like if you haven't had a drink in a year and you have like one glass of wine, you're like tipsy as all get out, like everything is tolerance.
Right.
So I would just say start with half. Split one with Rhea.
That sounds good. That'll be a fun time for you.
And so spirit free is this whole other thing where you don't, obviously those are a little bit easier for you to test. You don't have to worry about that. But that's a huge change for us over time, is that people aren't drinking as much.
Yeah, it is. And they're drinking less. I think they're drinking more mindfully. Like we really, starting with Haberdish right off the jump, we had a low ABV section of our menu because lower ABV drinking was becoming more of the trend there. And also sort of you could predetermine where you want your night to go, I guess. But yeah, spirit free is really coming on hard. And there's also people who are like maybe... They're trying to get less drunk. So like we get people who will come and they might have like a alcohol drink and then they might have a spirit free drink, like, or vice versa.
I like to mix one in. It just having one less drink is a big help.
Yeah. So we see that. I see that a lot. We've been seeing it a lot at business dinners at Summerland, at least, where guys are drinking, like they're literally every other beering, which I know isn't a cocktail, but it's like every other beer they're drinking an IPA and then they're drinking an NA IPA and they go back and forth so that they can look like they're drinking the whole time.
Like have the longevity of being a part of the conversation. It's a sessionable, right?
Yeah, the way our NA cocktails come out too, they have beautiful garnishes. They come in the same kind of glassware. They all have fun names too.
Yeah.
So you can be sitting there with
You're
somebody
not missing
and,
out.
and just, order one of them by name, and they bring you the cocktail, and nobody even knows that you're, throwing an NA cocktail in, which is great.
We try not to give it up too much. There are people, not everyone in the sober movement, and I guess it's changing a little bit, but it used to be that like we didn't want to like give away that a lady was pregnant by giving her this crazy fruity drink that doesn't look like a drink. So what we generally do is we flag our drinks, or like it's like a flag is like a garnish point. We'll flag our drinks that look like they have alcohol, but with a different garnish that's kind of subtle, but our staff knows, and our servers know. So anybody who touches that glass that works for us can look at that and be like, that's the NA version and that's the alcohol version. But to a guest, they're not really going to catch it.
No.
So that we are not mixing them up when we're setting them down.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and like you're saying, it also allows people, like if you just want to have a drink and not make it be a big deal that you're not drinking or something,
Yeah.
nobody's can ever know.
Yeah, no, it is. It's big. It's something we spend more and more time on. And fortunately now, back a long time ago, there really wasn't a lot of options, but now there's such a good, diverse selection of NA spirits on the market that aren't, like most of them. The clear spirits are pretty darn like for like. I've yet to have an NA whiskey that I really thought could hold its own, but I just started going through, and the one thing we've never really been able to find, or I haven't been able to find or buy, that was always missing was NA vermouth. And I keep buying cocktail books all the time. I read everyone else's books all the time, and
vermouth is such an important ingredient in the backbone of so many cocktails.
And it's such a big deal in the speakeasy. Like when we get NA people in the speakeasy, because we really try to get them as close as we can to the same experience. But like with we had the spaghetti Manhattan, we couldn't make that for a guest that was NA. We just couldn't get there. So I was reading through a book, Zero Proof, and they have an NA.
I got that for Christmas.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Huh.
You're welcome.
Thank you, dear.
So yeah, I was reading through there. They had an NA or an NA vermouth recipe in there. And just reading it on paper, I was like, I don't know if this is exactly what we wanted, but it gave me a jumping off point. And though I do a lot of infusions, I don't do a lot of medicinal herb infusions. So I called one of our friends who's also used to work for the group, Daniel Villa, who does a lot of medicinal herb infusions, because there was some very exacting stuff in there about temperature and time and whatever. And it was like, is there a reason why it's saying precisely this temperature versus something else? And he's like, yeah, the extraction rate at this temperature pulls. And I was like, that's all I wanted. Thank you for knowing the answer. And so yeah, working on stuff like that. And yeah, so I've been developed. That'll take a while to finally hone in, because the process takes a while. But I got something that was pretty good, but it was more like Fernet than Amara or than vermouth, and so it was like way too bitter. So I was like, well, this would be great if somebody wants to rip shots of.
So I would like it.
You would like it.
Yeah, perfect.
Actually, you probably really like it. Bitter people.
Well, I have one final question, and that's that you've mentioned you're interested in becoming a sommelier as well.
Oh yeah, why not?
Yeah, and so why do that? You're like cocktail queen, amazing at what you do, and how do you think that translates into just you continuing to grow and all that? I think that's pretty incredible.
Well, I don't know. I think it's good to keep learning, and you kind of apply like what you've learned in the next thing. Like a million years ago, before I worked for you guys, I worked as basically a trainer for a big coffee chain, like teaching different coffee cocktails or not coffee cocktails, teaching the fundamentals of like beans and like why they are different flavors and how to pull
training
those.
baristas.
Yeah, and like how to deductively taste coffee. When I came to work for y'all, started doing the same thing with beer, right? And then doing Cicerone, how to deductively taste, and then understanding, learning. Doing Cicerone first was probably the most helpful thing, because it was like you learned every single step of alcohol making except for distillation. So then when I started doing bigger distillation stuff and eventually going to 5-day, I already understood pretty much all the basics of fermentation, all that stuff, and other stuff, but to right up until stills. And so when I was studying for a really massive test, I really didn't have to focus on that stuff. But I had to focus a lot on stills because you had to know all of them and why. And but yeah, so it's kind of like that. And I did have to learn a lot about different grape regions and all that stuff for the grape spirits. Like I had to learn a lot about the grape regions of Chile, Peru, and then of course France. Cognac and Armagnac and understanding those grape varietals and all that stuff. And it was just like, why not do it? Also, I ruined beer for myself because I learned too much about it. I ruined inexpensive spirits for myself because I've learned too much about them. I'm still generally cool with like a $10 to $15 bottle of Trader Joe's wine, so why not ruin that too? Oh yeah, I think it'll be fun.
Exciting. Yeah,
it'll be fun.
And you're right. It's the continuing to learn thing, which is
it's
incredible.
inspiring me too. I was actually thinking of joining you and Rhea.
We'll
Why
see.
not?
We'll see if he does.
And come, do some wine tastings with you.
I think it'll be fun. I grew up outside in wine region in California, and I'm a huge port and sherry fan as well. And I was like, after I've had to memorize like 8 million mashes and worts and different fermentable sugars, it was like, at the end of the day, it's just grapes. I just
You could do this.
I was like, what's it made of? Grapes. That's it. Maybe some yeast. I'm into it.
Yeah.
I think it'll be fun, and it'll be different. But yeah, I really was like, I like to catch a new like big certification every few years just for funsies. And it was literally, they just came up with a level 2 certification for sake. And I was like, do I go through sake or do I do wine? Because those are like the last really big ones. And
Yeah.
I
You've
decided
you've always had a hankering for sake,
I like it.
but I like it too. But I
Super
think
nerdy.
Wine's a little more in our
It's a
purview.
little more relevant. That's kind of where I can. I'm still gonna do sake though after I do wine. Because
Maybe we'll open a sushi place sometime.
it's deep state nerd stuff. Like deeply nerdy.
But that's honestly like why you thrive in what you're doing. You're a total nerd and you get into these things with such detail. And I mean, I know that's why Jeff, I work with you sometimes, but mostly Jeff is working with you. And I know he loves how detailed and how particular you are about things. And it's because of that why you've been such a big part of this team. And we just thank you for coming on today.
So
Yeah.
awesome.
And
Always great to hang out
congratulations
with you.
on the absolutely incredible achievements you've had over the past year. And 2026 is going to be no different.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go.
2025 was a lot, y'all.
That's a lot. Well, congrats, because it's a Michelin Exceptional Cocktails Award and then a James Beard nomination.
It
That
was nuts, dude. It was cool. It was very overwhelming. I never thought I never really counted myself as a very emotional person, really. I'm like super Capricorny. But that was a lot. I think I cried a lot and for winning, which is even weirder. So it'll be interesting. But I'm excited.
But amazing accomplishments. We're really proud of you, and I love having you around.
Yeah.
Thank you, Colleen.
Let's do this.
We're going to put liquids into glasses. Yeah.
Yes. Well, that was great having Colleen on.
Our friend Colleen
I know you
Hughes.
two work like in tandem with all the different cocktail switch outs and everything. But what do you think your biggest takeaway was from that conversation?
Oh, she's just amazing, and I'm glad she took a moment in 2025 to cry a little bit and take in all the awards that she's gotten. It truly is. It's amazing, and I can't wait. I think I have 25 spring cocktails, she said.
Ooh.
So 25 new drinks to put on the menu soon, and that means we'll have some pretty fun afternoons.
Fun afternoons and tastings ahead. I think my biggest takeaway from that conversation is, we all take for granted, and I do as well, us as business owners, but also just anytime you look around a dining room and you see these cocktails out there, some places, don't go to the trouble that we go to in our group, and that's because of her. the details in all of the steps and the sourcing and the thoughtfulness around waste and the thoughtfulness around, how to make sure her team is set up to win, to put out those drinks. People aren't seeing that. And so in that glass, I think as people drink a cocktail, especially at our restaurants, but perhaps at other restaurants that are very, cocktail minded, think about all those things that are actually going into that glass and the amount of effort.
She's pushed
and care.
us so much on the waste piece, on the garnishing piece, on the glassware, on the ice.
Now in THC and spirit free.
It has moved us along as a group, and it you see it inspiring the chefs too, and motivating them and wanting to learn more. And if they have a sciencey molecular thing, a lot of times Colleen is the one to ask, how does this work and how's it going to emulsify and all those things. So she's an awesome member of the team and really pushing us forward and challenging us all the time.
Yep, and her moving toward hopefully getting her sommelier certification as well. I love that you're interested in that too.
I think I should do it.
I think I'm saying that out loud to see if you'll commit, but you're not committing yet.
I know. It's a lot of studying, but I think I'd have fun with it.
Well, stay tuned. We'll let you guys know if Jeff does actually go toward that and for that. But thank you for listening today. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share with others, and we'll see you on the next one.